Hello and welcome to Moseley Rugby Round Up. I'm Paul Bradley and I'm joined on the phone now by rugby correspondent Brian Dick. Hi Brian.
Hi Paul.
Let's start today's show looking ahead to the game against Nottingham. What does Nottingham have in store for Moseley?
Well, it's not been a happy hunting ground for Moseley in recent years as Meadow Lane. It's 4 years since they've been there and won. And they have reserved some of their worst performances for playing away at Nottingham as well. So not a huge amount of form from that point of view to take into the match. And it's interestingly it's one game before they've got this sequence of 5 or 6 matches that they really could win. Against the sides about them, so even if they don't win this weekend, then it will be difficult. They'll certainly be looking for a positive performance and some sort of momentum to take into the Doncaster match the following week.
And do you again see the scrum being an important part of this game, and a lot of the game could rest on how well Moseley do in the scrum?
Yeah, well, it was certainly a massive issue when the sides met at Bilshley Common earlier this season. As coaches, we're always keen to say that no game is decided by what happens in the scrummaging at scrum time, but you can't hide the fact that when the sides met in September, Nottingham were well on top, and they gave the scrum produced was a regular supply of penalties and free kicks and stopped Moseley getting a foothold in the game. Moseley have come on a lot since then. They've identified the 3 guys they want in their front row, and they've got. They seem to have woken up to the fact that there are times when they don't. All 8 of them don't scrimmage with the same intensity. So they've got Neil Mason now chirruping away in their ear just before every scrum time. So yeah, it is key, but more key will be once they get the ball out of the back of the scrum, what they do with it then, because at Bedford at the weekend they didn't use it that wisely, and by their own admission.
You mentioned Bedford there, and you've written in your match report this week that was a good loss. Can you describe what you mean in terms of the performance from Moseley?
Yeah, unusual for one of my match reports not to be clear. He said jokingly, yeah, what it meant is I think people often go to Bedford with a certain amount of trepidation. Bedford are a very, very strong side, and like Meadow Lane, Moseley's record there isn't great. In fact, people I spoke to in the build-up to it couldn't remember Moseley winning there in the modern era. So yeah, the fact was they were within a score up until about an hour, and that was without having kicked away a lot of the ball they'd won. So if you contrast that when they were there last year, when they just completely caved in and they totally buckled, and that sent them on a sort of a 4 or 5 week run of really poor performances. It was much more positive than that. And the 15 guys that Kevin Meggs has chosen as his first choice, really justified that against what was a pretty good Bedford side. So yeah, no points, but some plaudits, I would say, we could probably take from that match.
In a moment we'll hear from Kevin Meggs. You spoke to him after the game against Bedford. But just, Brian, going back to the point you made earlier on in the show about this run of games coming up now for Moseley, just how winnable are they for Moseley, and also how important are they for them to kind of make a statement towards the end of the season? Yeah,
well, there's still talk. They're very important to answer the question. There's still talk there of at Moseley of finishing in the top 8 and avoiding the relegation playoffs. Now, that is going to be difficult, but there's no reason why they can't beat Doncaster next week, and then they go in, and then they've got a run of games against Esher, London Scottish, and then a difficult one at London Welsh, and then they've also got Plymouth in January as well. So these are the sides that are in the bottom half of the table, and these are the sides that if they are going to get out and of the relegation zone and make top 8, then those are the sides they've got to win, and not this weekend. The sides they've got to beat, and this weekend against Nottingham, I think is the first step to getting some momentum into those matches.
Okay, Brian, well, thanks for your thoughts today on Moseley. We'll leave you now with some thoughts from Kevin Meggs after the Bedford game. Thanks for joining us again this week.
You probably deserved a point or 2 from that, didn't you, from the effort you put in?
Yeah, I think we were outside. I just think at times, well, we missed quite a few first up tackles, and I thought we deserved to get something out of it. I just think we just lost concentration a couple of times, and we just lacked a little bit of composure, really. And it's just frustrating more than anything else. I don't think it's from lack of effort from those lads. I think all those lads. I thought the last few weeks, they've all worked really hard, and I just think it's we're against a team that've been together for quite a long time, and they're well drilled, and they a lot of them, they're vastly experienced as well. So not taking anything away from them, but I'm a bit frustrated and disappointed because I thoroughly believed we could come here and do a job on them, to be fair.